Villegas with Ethan Skolnick, who is in Westbound right now. The Miami Heat first day of Heat camp, of course, there at Keiser University, and Ethan was very excited. We almost saw him running in the conditioning with the Miami Heat guys. I know you all are waiting for more information on the Miami Heat since the other teams just are not as good. So let's talk to Ethan a little bit. Ethan, how are you? How was that first day of camp?
I'm good. Well, for me, it was a little bit exhausting. No, it was fine. Actually, if you hear some bouncing in the background,
Yes.
some guys decided to come in and use the gym after the Heat left. So they just finished up. We just had media availability. The only two players that didn't participate today, one of them was expected, which was Kelly Olynyk, still getting over that knee injury. Probably going to be a couple of weeks at the very least before we see him. But also James Johnson. That one was a bit of a surprise. I sat down with James Johnson for a podcast yesterday, talked about how well conditioned he was. And today he apparently, was informed that he'd failed the conditioning test. So I don't think that it's a long-term thing here. I was told he's not being fined. He's not being suspended. This isn't like what would happen with Antoine Walker or James Posey 13 years ago. But it is a little bit disappointing. James was coming off of, a situation where he didn't play very well last year. He talked to us about that yesterday. He had problems with his conditioning. We thought he was in shape. Apparently he's not. And again, for a guy who's making $30 million plus over the next 2 years of his contract, they need to get something out of him. So not a great start, but I'd expect him up here in the next couple of days.
Okay. And what else? Because I saw you talking to Justise Winslow, talking about using both hands, maybe. What was it, what he said about it?
Well, yeah, it's interesting. It's been something I've been watching on his workout videos and also when he's been doing kind of the pro-ams, is that I've noticed him using both hands, the right hand, a little bit more, and so I think it's important for him. If he's going to play point guard, teams are going to overplay him. He's got to be able to go both directions. And his answer to me was, he's like, I dare them to overplay me. I want you to force me right. He's a confident guy. He's expressed that all offseason. He wants to be the point guard, but you have to be able to do that in this league. You got to be able to go both ways. You got to be able to finish with both hands. We saw him do that a little bit better last year, but you have to be able to use both hands. And he did say that was an emphasis. I saw him working on it a little bit today, and that's why I asked him about it. The other thing that I asked as far as a technical basketball question was Dion Waiters. I got a little bit of time alone with Dion after.
He's in shape.
Yeah, right. He's in shape. I will say that. He is in great shape, and he's in great spirits, and he's only got 2 years left on that deal. So this is all positive for him. But the thing about the end of last year when he came back, he was jacking up a ton of threes. Now, it wasn't a huge problem because he was making a decent percentage, about 36, 37%, but that's not really what they need from him, to be shooting 11 to 13 times per game from three. They need three-point spacers. But if he's going to be doing that, it's going to be sort of slowing up the offense and taking them out of what they want to do. So I asked him, I said, are you going to sort of get back to more of a mix this year? He says he would. He says it's just what teams were giving him last year. Now, I would expect them to give him that even more if he shows the ability to get to the basket again. So not enough free throws last year. He told me he's healthy. He thinks he can get to the rim more often. And again, if he can, he gives this team a different dimension than they had last season, and he'll be a good complement to Butler. But it can't just be all threes. Third person I got a chance to talk to alone a little bit today, and this will be on a podcast, was Goran Dragic. Very simple question for Goran. Can you still play at an all-star level? He says yes. He still believes he can.
Well, he can't say otherwise, right?
Well, he can't say otherwise. You're right, but it's the way he's saying it. I think, I asked him, I said, after last season, it's really the first season he's missed that much time with injury.
Yeah.
After last season, does this one feel a little bit different? What did you work on this summer? He said it was just all about getting healthy. That's all that really mattered to Goran this offseason, was getting healthy, but he feels if he's healthy, he can still do a lot of the things that he used to do. So this is the most interesting battle on this team. How do the guard positions play out? Jimmy's likely going to start at the three. Who are going to be the two guards? Is it going to be Goran and Justise, who don't really fit that well together? Is it going to be Goran and Dion? I don't think it can be, because I don't think at this point you can put Justise Winslow on the bench and expect him to develop.
No.
Is it going to be Dion and Justise? That's probably the most likely until Tyler Herro is ready. But if they're going to do that, Alejandro, does Goran accept a role that I think is perfect for him, a six-man role, get back to what he did early in his career? I think he could be a six-man of the year candidate in 23 to 26 minutes a game. Dwayne Wade did it. Will Goran agree to do it? I think that's a
well. He should. Now, if you compare it that way, he should. Now, if you play both Waiters and Justise Winslow at the same time, you're not worried maybe Waiters taking too much time with the ball or too many shots?
Oh, I'm worried. I'm worried. I'm more worried. I'm more worried about Dion than I am about Jimmy. Jimmy's not that high usage a player for a superstar. In fact, I asked Spo about that yesterday. He's really not. He doesn't have one of those high 20s usage rates. He's a playmaker as much as he is. But Dion, we know, can be a playmaker, but Dion likes to shoot. And what you don't want on this team, it's not so much Justice getting shots that I'm worried about. It's the ball not being in Justice's hands and him standing in the corner. I don't want to see, I don't think Heat fans want to see Justise Winslow, even though he's 38% from three, I don't think they want to see Justise Winslow standing in the corner as a spot-up shooter. He needs to be a playmaker this year. He's a good passer. He's been seeing the floor better. These are good problems to have. They have options, but it's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out.
Talking about a playmaker, today you've got to see the first time of Jimmy Butler finally open to the public. How was his first day of camp?
Well, it wasn't that open to the public. We got to see basically one shot, which was Myers Leonard draining a shot from three like his wife Elwood, and that was basically
both hands.
Right, and then we saw conditioning, and I think this was purposeful. In front of the media, the three guys running were UD, Jimmy, and Dion. On the side. I think that's purposeful. I think UD is making a point with Dion right now. I think they both are. But also, when they just ran the suicide sprints, the guy who was beating everybody else, Tyler Herro. In fact, not only was he beating everybody else, he was looking back to see who was behind him.
Okay, so it's safe to say that he's the fastest guy on the team?
He's fast for a white dude. I'll say that.
What?
But I think what's safe to say, Alejandro, is he is. I think he has bought in. Let's just put it that way. Like, I think he's trying to.
You're talking about culture, even though you don't want to say it. Let's say attitude. Let's say attitude. He has the right.
Said it 12 times today. I'm not saying.
He has the right attitude to fit with this group.
With this group, no culture. No culture.
Okay, what else of the culture or of the attitude you saw today there?
Well, I mean, I just think Jimmy is really acclimating well. I noticed on the side that, when what we got to see, that Pat pulled Jimmy aside and they were speaking for 5 or 6 minutes. And that's significant to me. And the reason it's significant to me is because I felt that one of the things that always frustrated Pat during the Big Three era was he didn't have a lot of those conversations with LeBron. I don't feel that the relationship that Pat developed with Zoe, with Patrick Ewing, with Magic as a coach, and then Dwayne to a degree as a coach, and then as a president, it never really happened with LeBron the way that I think Pat wanted it to. I think Pat looked at it, and LeBron was his crowning achievement in terms of who he brought in. And LeBron was open to it, but I always remember the question. I remember asking Pat at the end about LeBron. Well, this is when actually he made the comment that sort of drove LeBron off, the get a grip and all the rest of this. And he said that he and LeBron had a texting relationship. I think he wants more than a texting relationship with Jimmy. And Jimmy's buying into it. Jimmy was up at 3:30 in the morning today. He's looking for a paddleball court to beat somebody's ass up here in West Palm Beach. And I just think he's embracing it. I think he speaks the same language as Spo. We've had that conversation. So I think that's very positive. So to me, that would be my final takeaway from today is just, that Jimmy, I think, is into it. And I think guys are taking his lead. And the other thing is obviously James Johnson needs to get in shape. Like, we had a nice conversation with him yesterday, but, you're one of the highest paid guys on the team.
Yeah.
And you're a vet and you got to be in shape. And injury aside or not, excuse or not, the Heat made a point of this. The Heat could have not told us. Okay. They do that with a lot of stuff. They could have not told us.
But they do.
They told us before practice opened.
Yeah. So
what do you think that is? I think it's a message.
Yeah.
I think it's a message. I think this is going to be, I think this is going to be a very different situation with this team. I don't think they're taking any shit, basically.
Alex Toledo has a question here. He kept talking about his explosiveness being back. That was yesterday at the media day. How did he look today? Well,
we didn't see much. If Alex is talking about Dion, Alex, be explicit. If Alex is talking about a lot of deals. If Alex is talking about Dion, he looked good to me in what I saw, but again, we didn't see a lot. We saw a couple plays. That's all about what they're going to give us. We saw them running up and down the floor. we got to see what's always interesting to me after these practices is interaction. Who is communicating with who?
He says
So
JJ, but JJ is not in shape, so he didn't practice today, right?
He's not here, Alex. So yeah, I mean, you know, to me, it's about who's interacting with who's taking who under their wing, who's putting in the extra work, and all that kind of stuff. And the whole Heat Brain Trust was basically here. Andy was here, Nick was here. I didn't see
Yeah.
Nikki, but Pat was here. And Adam Simon was here. So they're all here, and they're going to be here all week. And they're staying over at a very nice hotel. I'm not going to mention which, but very nice hotel in the Palm Beach area, which I might go get a drink at later. But
Well, you
but
have to do the challenge. You put it on the Five Reasons Twitter. Drink every time Justise Winslow says culture. So you're gonna have to
right.
do it.
I'm just gonna drink every time that I say culture. That's all. That's it.
All right.
That's
What's the rest of the schedule for the week so people know where to expect content from you?
Yeah, I will not be up here tomorrow, I don't believe. Daughter's furniture is arriving. That takes precedence. So I missed it the other day. I will not be here today, but we will have people here. I'm not sure exactly who, but we've got a collection of people, whether it's Zach Buckley or Chris Maddox may make it, Alphonse Sidney, Alex Toledo. I don't know if you guys coming up, or is that the plan?
It's hard. We have to work in the mornings here in Miami.
Yeah, I know, and it's like it's like a different country for you guys down in Miami. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like for me from Lauderdale, it's not so bad. But yeah, I'll be up here. I'll be at practice Thursday, Friday, and I'll be at the scrimmage on Saturday. Check out at 5 Reasons Sports at Ethan J. Skolnick, 5reasonsports.com. Got a new column about Eric Spoelstra. We got a bunch of podcasts going up. We had some
5 on the floor.
5 on the floor. We had some audio difficulties yesterday, but we are patching that stuff together. So you'll hear from Myers Leonard, also likely from Derek Jones Jr. Probably not James Johnson now. That one we might have to shelve.
Well, because he lied to you guys.
Casey,
he says, "No, I'm fine."
He lied, but he certainly didn't tell the whole truth.
Okay.
So there you go. But thanks, Alejandro. Appreciate you
All
doing
right.
it. I think they're gonna kick my ass out.
Yeah. See you guys later.
Bye.